Okay, this video is going to go through our arithmetic laws. So the three main laws that we need to know and understand how to use. So these are the commutative, associative, and distributive laws. Now, a commutative law of multiplication is that if we have an integer multiplied by another integer, we are able to do that in reverse order. So for example, if we have a times b, you could also write that as b times a. Similarly, with addition, if you had a plus b, you could rewrite that as b plus a. Our associative law is that if we have multiple terms all being added, then we can rearrange them into any order to make it easier to solve. On the same token, if we have all terms being multiplied, we can rearrange them to make it easier to solve. Our distributive law, this is a law that we can use when we're multiplying by really large values and allows us to split the value into two easier integers to perform that operation. So what we do is we put our multiplication out the front, and then we have our second value that's being multiplied in the brackets, but we can split it into two parts, either being combined by an addition operation or a subtraction operation. Now, to be successful in this unit, you need to obviously be able to use the arithmetic laws and you need to understand how they work. Now, a life link for these laws is that there are jobs that require you to add and multiply values quickly on the spot. So this is our mental addition and multiplication. And so understanding these arithmetic laws can actually make that process faster and more accurate for you. And I've just included a video below this of an example of letters and numbers. Okay, so our worked examples for this unit. So if I want to multiply 95 by 5. Now, multiplying 95 by 5 in my head can be somewhat difficult. So what I can do is I can have a look at 95 and I can say, okay, what two easier numbers could I use to create 95 that would be easier for me to multiply by? So what I could do is, well, 100 minus 5 still equals 95. And then I can multiply that by 5. So if I've got 5 times 100 minus 5, our distributive law then says that we have to do 5 times 100 and 5 times 5. So our next line of working, we're going to have 5 times 100. Our operation between is a subtraction, and we're going to have 5 times 5. So that means we've got 500 minus 25. So our solution here is going to be 475. B is just a case of expanding our brackets. It's already been broken down into the distributive law for you. So you're going to do 10 times 20 minus 10 times 1. So you're going to have 200 minus 10, which is 190. And then C here, we've got 26. Now there's a couple of ways that we could do this one. So 26, we could write that as 30 minus 4. Or it could also be 20 plus 6. So I'm going to show you both ways. So here, if I had 7 times 30 minus 4, I've got 7 times 30 minus 7 times 4. So that's 210 minus 28. Which would get us 182. Or we could use 20 plus 6, which would be 7 times 20 plus 6. So we would go 7 times 20 plus 7 times 6. You'd have 140 plus 42, which is 182. Now in this case here, the 20 plus 6 would have been the easier option, just because 210 minus 28 would take you a little bit longer than doing 140 plus 42. But both ways are correct ways to show your understanding of the distributive law. Okay, our next example here, we're going to use our associative law knowledge. So if I see I've got 17 plus 16 plus 3. Now we can write this as A plus B plus C. Now here, if I combine 3 and 16, I'm going to get 19. Now that's not a very friendly number to add with, but if I combine 3 and 17, I get 20. And that makes it a lot easier to then add on the final value. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rearrange this so that I've got C plus A plus B. which is going to be 3 plus 17 plus 16, because then 3 plus 17 is 20, and 20 plus 16 is 36. Okay, and our last one here, again, we can say it's A times B times C. Now, looking at these values here, straight away I can see I've got a 5 and a 2, and I know that when they're multiplied, that's going to make 10. So that's going to make it really easy for me to multiply by that third value. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do A times C times B, which means I'm going to have 5 times 2 times 13, which is 10 times 13. So I'm going to have 130 as my solution.